Hello everybody, it is Professor Parish, and believe it or not, we are at week 7. Yes, this is 1 week to go before finals week. This semester's flown by, can you believe it? So, what I want to do this week is to go over a couple of things. First and foremost, the assignments that are due this week, and explain those, and then I want to talk a little bit about finals week. I will make one more video after this one. I'm going to try to get it out earlier over the weekend. I can't make any guarantees, but that's my goal. But I'll talk more about finals week in that video, but I am going to highlight some previews for it in this one. And then also, I just want to kind of reiterate about assignments due tonight. I know most of you have gotten your discussion forums, your thesis statements for your final papers, your paper 3, and finally the drama exam completed. So most of you have all of those done. If you haven't turned in those assignments, please do so by Sunday night at 11:55. I'm recording it Sunday right now, so I almost said tonight. But let's talk about this week. I previewed it a little bit in our week 6 video, in that we do have a few assignments I told you you are definitely welcome to go ahead and start on if you wanted to. The MLA exam is due Sunday, July 7th. That exam is pretty straightforward. It's just asking questions about MLA. It's just we've done a lot of MLA assignments the last few weeks, so it should just be review. Most of you have done very well on those assignments. So as long as you have your Cengage handbook and you look at my presentation over MLA and the MLA citation presentation that I created, you should be fine. The other thing here is the reading number 4 response. This response requires you to watch a video and then answer some questions. And when you click on that, you'll see the guidelines for it. It's pretty straightforward, and it's due Sunday as well. Sunday, July 21st on this one. Sorry, not July 7th. Finally, we have 2 assignments left that I haven't talked about yet. I prefaced these 2 in week 6, the MLA exam and reading response number 4, but I haven't talked about the annotated bibliography, and I haven't talked about the peer review discussion forum yet. So let's go ahead and talk about the annotated bibliography first. Most of you may or may not have completed an annotated bibliography before. If you haven't, if I go to our syllabus handouts and videos link and scroll to the bottom to week 7, find it on here. You'll notice in the documents section that this presentation is the last presentation for our class. So I'm going to download it and open it up here. Okay. All right. So if you've never encountered the term annotated bibliography before, bibliography is just a fancy word for a works cited page. So it's definitely dealing with MLA like we've been doing the last several weeks. Annotated, though, is a new term, and it has its own meaning. So this assignment, I want to preface by saying first, this assignment is its own thing. You do not have to put annotations on your final paper. Do not do that. However, you can use this assignment to help you construct the works cited page that you're actually going to use in your final paper, and I'll explain more shortly. So an annotated bibliography, annotated just means notes or summary, and a bibliography is your works cited page. That's literally it. In grad school, if you ever go into grad school, especially for subjects like English or speech, annotated bibliographies can be quite long, but we are not in grad school, and so we're not going to make really long annotated bibliographies. Ours are going to be quite compact. So what do you need to do for this assignment? Well, the first thing that you do is you cite your source that you find in MLA format. Then, once you cite that in MLA format, like we've been practicing, you'll skip a space, like I've done here for this slide, and then you're going to write a small paragraph about the source, where you summarize it, describe how useful it's going to be in your writing, and discuss its credibility. So there's 3 parts to an annotation. So I have an example here for you. Move here. So my example here says I have Smith, John, example article in quotation marks, my web URL sample.com, in italics, my publisher, my date published, web, and you're supposed to put the web link, but I did put the access date there. So I have my citation right here, rather, and then this is my annotation. So I start out by saying what the article is about. I say Smith's article discusses several example articles that can be used for academic essays as sources. I'm being pretty general here, but I told what it was. I said this article is from a known credible website, sample.com, and is founded by Sample Journal, the leading source of example articles. I stated why the source is credible. It's founded by a leading source. So you can't just say, oh, it's from sample.com, so it's credible. You've got to tell me why is it credible. And so that's what I do here. And then finally, I plan to use this site as the main source of articles to discuss in my essay. So I state how I'm going to use the source. So I cover my bases with my 3 things for this annotation. I describe the source, I say how it's credible, and I show how I plan to use it. Like, you'll notice I'm being pretty vague in this annotation, and you can be vague too in your assignment because, as I said before, this is just a work in progress. This assignment is for me to know, 1, you know how to cite your sources, and 2, you can actually describe your sources. Because, to be honest, we're all guilty of this at some point in our academic career. It's easy to just say, oh yeah, I got 4 sources. Go to Google and the first 4 sources that pop up, you're like, yeah, I'll use those. Then, when you actually go to use them, you may realize, oh yeah, 2 of these are not going to work at all, so I got to go back and find some more research. So, this assignment is going to help curb that, I feel. I feel like students doing this assignment, 1, you get to sharpen up citing your sources, and 2, you actually get to see if the source is going to be helpful for you before you break it down in your actual paper. So you'll notice I don't give a length requirement for your annotations as long as they answer the 3 steps. So you'll notice that this entire paragraph here is only 3 sentences, 3 complex sentences. If it takes you a sentence to describe the source, a sentence to describe the credibility, and a sentence to describe how you're going to use it, that will be fine. If you need more than that, go for it. There's no length requirement or maximum as long as you just answer what the source is about, how it's credible, and how you're going to use it in your paper. That's pretty much it. Annotations are fairly easy. So, when you collect these together, you're going to want to put them all in alphabetical order based on the citation. And I've put down here a little note that, like a works cited page, the annotations are listed in alphabetical order by the author's last name, or the title of the article if there's no author. So just make sure you do that. This assignment is going to require you to find 4 sources that will work for your final paper. You do not have to use those 4 sources in the final draft, but I just want you for this assignment only to find 4 sources that will definitely work. Now, most students will find sources that they are going to use because it's like hitting 2 birds with 1 stone. That way you can kind of find a source you're going to use and use it for this assignment. But at least 4 sources, and your grade is based on the source being cited in the correct MLA format, a summary of what your source is about, an explanation of how you plan to use the source. Even if you don't know, just kind of put a guess of what you think you're going to use it for, even if you're not set in stone on what you're doing, and then a definition of what makes it usable or credible. So that is the basic requirement, but you will notice down here, I am going to offer you extra credit for the sources you cite beyond 4. And if you're asking me how many sources you can cite, I've had students kind of go crazy with assignments like this. So if you want to cite 20 sources, go for it. If you want to cite 5, go for it. It's totally up to you, but any sources beyond the 4 required are going to earn you extra credit. This is our last chance of extra credit in this class, so I would definitely take advantage of it this week in turning in this assignment. So remember to put the annotations in alphabetical order. And if you have any extra questions, you can email or ask me at any time, and I'll be happy to answer them for you. So this assignment isn't terribly hard. What I don't want in your final paper, though, is don't include your annotation here. Just include the works cited part. I have some students that just copy and paste their whole annotated bibliography into the MLA, into the final paper works cited page. don't do that. You just need the MLA citations if you're going to copy and paste, but don't include the annotations. This is just for this assignment, not your final paper. All right. So that's pretty much the annotated bibliography. It's not a hard assignment in all honesty. It's pretty straightforward. I've had a few students already complete it for this coming week, and they did great. So I'm pretty confident that you all will know what you're doing. So that's the annotated bibliography assignment, MLA exam, reading response number 4, and then finally our peer review forum. That is the last thing I want to talk with you all about today. So we've not done this in this class yet, and so I definitely want to do this. This typically is one of the more fun assignments I think that students find in the class. I've heard lots of positive response about this assignment, and I appreciate that. This basically is, oh, look at Kayla, look at you being all ahead of the game. What you do here is that we're actually going to share our drafts of paper 4 with each other through the discussion forum. Our last discussion forum, by the way, this is it. This is the last one of the semester. What you will do is you will create a post, and I'll actually refer to Kayla's here in a minute as an example. You're going to create a post where you attach your paper draft, and if you have any questions for your audience, if you want us to look at anything particularly at your paper, let us know. And your job is to peer review at least 4 drafts. Oh no. I need to edit that. Let me go here and edit it. You guys are actually reviewing just 2 drafts. I know some of you are probably like, 4 papers. Yeah, you all are only editing 2. I read 4 there and was like, well, that's not right. Yeah. So you are reviewing 2 peer drafts and then I'm giving responses to it. So there's going to be twice the points dedicated to these peer responses, but you're only having to do 2 instead of 4 this week. And the reason for that is I would like you to actually give some good feedback to your fellow peers. So your task is to upload your draft by Friday night at 11:55 p.m. Describe what your topic of your paper is so that your audience kind of knows what you're writing about. Give us any questions that you have and what you want us to look at the most. Like, is there anything specific like grammar you want us to look at, or how your paper is structured? Just let us know. And then by Sunday, you have to look at least at 2 peer drafts and respond to them. So a good response in this typical forum is that you need to tell your author or your audience what you liked about their paper. So specifically what was good about it, and offer some constructive feedback, because none of us are perfect writers. So if you respond with, your paper was great, it wouldn't change a thing, you're probably going to need to write something on there, because I'm going to take off points. That's just not enough. As somebody that writes too, I really want constructive criticism, and I'm sure that you all would too, to help benefit your grade, because as we've previously talked about, paper 4 is our only paper in this class that you cannot revise. So this is our revision. This forum is our chance to get revising ideas for our papers before we turn them in. So be constructive, be respectful, be nice, but there's nothing wrong with telling someone that something needs to be worked on in their paper, because they may need to know that. We are often so used to how we write that, for example, when I write, I may miss something or something may not be connecting, and in my brain it's connecting. I'm like, oh yeah, this makes total sense. And then when somebody peer reviews it for me, they're like, how'd you get from point A to point B? And you have to explain it more. So it is good to get some constructive feedback on your papers, especially with this being the final paper and worth so many points. So that's why I'm only having you review 2, so that you can give the best feedback possible. Just give them an honest feedback, be respectful, be mindful of their work, but also be constructive in offering criticism of how they can improve and get a better grade. So that's a discussion forum. Students tend to really like this because it's a chance for you to kind of show off what you've been working on. As far as how long the draft has to be, because I know this is a longer paper, and some students always ask me, they're like, well, how long does the draft have to be for the discussion forum peer review? I hate to assign a number because I know as soon as I say it, that's what you're all going to go for, and then you're just going to stop there. So I'm going to address this with a caveat. The more you write for this discussion forum for your draft, the better and more feedback you're going to get. If you just give me a paragraph, I'm going to deduct points, 1, and 2, you're not going to get much feedback. So you'll have 7 other pages to write with no feedback. Because I am treating this discussion forum as the only opportunity you have to get feedback from me on this paper. I've had students in the past try to send me their paper like a day before the final due date and be like, hey, can you look over this? No, this is your chance to get it looked over. So I will be as busy as you all with finals week, so unfortunately I will not be able to look at papers unless they are final drafts throughout the week, because I'll be busy grading and doing other prep work for finals week. So this discussion forum is your chance to get reviewing from me. We do have a writing tutor on campus, Miss Joanna Lane. She's here on Mondays. I think she's here from 8 to 2 p.m., maybe 10 to 2 p.m. maybe. You can always call our library and ask, but she is a writing tutor here on campus, so if you need her to look at your paper as well, just to get another set of eyes during finals week, she would definitely be a great resource as well. But yeah, this discussion forum is usually a lot of fun. Everybody seems to like it well. Just remember to get your draft uploaded by Friday. At least 4 pages. There, I said it. At least halfway done, 4 pages. But I really encourage you to get as much of the page length minimum done as possible for this forum so that you can get the most feedback possible. Otherwise, it's really just going to be the feedback that I give you, and if you only give me a page, then the other 7 pages, you're kind of on your own. So just keep that in mind as you write your draft this week. But let me pull up Kayla's here as an example, not to put you on the spot. All right, so Kayla does a really good job here. She explains what her 4th paper is about. I really like this thesis, by the way. I think it's really cool. It's very unique. And then she attaches her file right here. So if I click on it, it's going to download for me. And I'll go ahead and download it and show you what you can do. So what I do when I peer review your papers is I'm going to enable editing, and I instantly go to the review bar and click track changes. And by clicking that, it will actually let me go through here and make edits. So, for example, there's a comma here. We don't need a comma. So you'll notice that when I right click on it, it says take the comma away. So when I do that, it turns everything red. Like there's a red line through that, and it corrects it. If I'm going to be doing that throughout all of your drafts, so Kayla, in your case, if you want to incorporate this new change that I've made into your paper, you're first going to select this and accept that I deleted it, and then you're going to right click on this and accept that I inserted it. And that's pretty much it. And you can do that throughout the paper. Awesome draft. This is cool. It's 10 pages. Kudos, Kayla. Way to go. So if you would like to read Kayla's paper, her draft is on here. Awesome. I'm so excited. I'm going to take my time and read through this draft a little bit later and give you some feedback, Kayla. But awesome. I'm not going to say that for now. But you can reply here and do that. When you actually go to upload your paper, when you do add post, I know some of you have actually attached documents so far, but if you haven't, my dog is coming up the stairs. So when you go to add post here, I'm going to get back to regular view so I can do that. You're actually going to click add post, and the easiest way to do this is going to be make your subject line, give a little spiel about your paper. The easiest thing would be to say from my computer add, and then browse, find the document from your computer. I'm just going to pick this one as an example. Open. Now you've got to click this add button. It will not attach unless you click the add button. And then once you do click add, you'll notice that it's now a blue link. There is the trash can option, so you can delete the file if it's the wrong one. But if it's right and you've made your little spiel up here, you can click submit and be good to go. Okay? So that's pretty much it. This week kind of comes to a close. I am going to talk about finals week in more detail next week, but I will go ahead and show you that, yeah, and this is my teacher version, so as you can see, some people have already submitted some things for next week. Oh, hey, there he is. Pick him up in a minute to show you. So you have your final exam and the final paper are the only two things due this coming Thursday, July 25th. Our finals week ends July 25th, so please keep that in mind. You'll also notice that these two items don't open up until Sunday, July 21st. And unfortunately, that's because it's a college rule that we don't open up any earlier than that. So you'll have to wait till Sunday to start our final exam and submitting your final paper. But I kind of like that because that way that gives me time to give you feedback on paper 4 before you submit it. Because I have had some students on accident submit the final paper before they got my feedback. And I was like, no! So just keep that in mind. All right? But anyway, hey, what are you doing? Hold on, guys. I will be right back. This is Charlie. Say hi, Charlie. Hi. He came up the stairs. That's what distracted me. But anyway, so this is the end of the week 7 video. If you all have any questions, please let me know. He's being squirmy. And otherwise, I look forward to grading your paper 3, getting those back to you this week. You will get a chance to revise paper 3. It just has to be turned in finals week, and I'll talk about that more next week. All right? So I'll see you guys later. If you have questions, let me know. But otherwise, say bye, Charlie. I'll see you guys next week.